Okay. The title of this video is really snarky, but you know what? There have been so many videos on this YouTube channel of me calling myself out, saying, hey, I was wrong about a guy. I was wrong about this prospect. I was wrong about this trade. I was wrong about this idea. I've called myself out a ton, multiple times over the past 5-6 years or so, dissecting ideas shared on this channel and saying I was wrong when I was wrong. So the one time I feel things weren't actually wrong, the one time where I got it right, I feel like it's only appropriate to go out there and make a video about it. Now sure, this is an overreaction video, 100%. It's one game. It's one small 60-minute sample size out of a guy who is suiting up for a brand new team, and we're making a video about him talking about how he's great. But I really wanted to hammer this home at the start of the year. Now, who is it that we're talking about? Well, we are talking about the Detroit Red Wings. Of course we are. They played a game against the Nashville Predators yesterday that I unfortunately was not able to watch. I didn't watch any hockey in the 4 p.m. range because I was busy doing other stuff. But when it comes to my third favorite team in Detroit, they ended up beating Nashville 3-0. And you can say, oh, 3-0, that looks like a great game. The Red Wings must have dominated. Well, you could make the argument, 3-0 is a pretty reasonable score to say that one team was significantly better than the other. But upon reviewing the tape, reviewing the footage, just kind of seeing what was going on, seeing the goals that were scored and seeing the saves that were made, I feel like, without a shadow of a doubt, the best player for Detroit in this victory against Nashville was Cam Talbot, who went out there and stopped 42 shots against, compared to the Red Wings' 22. Cam Talbot had himself a shutout in the most amazing way possible to cement his first start with the Detroit Red Wings in the 24-25 season. I was right. Now, before we dive into some of the why I was right conversation, I wanted to just talk about this game for a few minutes. 3-0 win, as we had said. Detroit ended up getting goal support from JT Compher, Andrew Kopp, and Dylan Larkin, so nice to see Larkin finally getting his first goal of the year. Seider had himself an assist. Raymond was up on the board as well, not to mention Simon Edvinsson, and then the Larkin empty netter was unassisted. But Cam Talbot was the guy that stood out in most Wings fans' eyes, scoring himself the shutout and putting himself near the top of the NHL in goaltending power rankings. The best part about this game was we had seen Talbot absolutely shine in a way that's so rare for Red Wings goaltenders. It's kind of weird now, but I think for Cam Talbot to start out his Red Wings career with a shutout, it follows in the footsteps of James Reimer and Ville Husso, both of whom did the exact same thing when they debuted with the Red Wings in the past few years. Either way, with Cam Talbot, he did make some really nice stops. There was a particular save on Steven Stamkos on a backdoor play that I thought was really impressive. But for the most part, Talbot showed off his poise, he showed off his stability, and that even though he is one of the oldest goalies in the NHL, because he is 37, he still is capable of manning the crease. Here are some comments made by the coaches involved of this game. Derek Lalonde said that Cam Talbot is pretty consistent. I think if you can manage your game in front of him where you're not making him move laterally, you're seeing pucks, he's going to give you a pretty solid effort. And I thought that was the case tonight. He made a couple of spectacular saves moving east to west, but with an offensive team like that, you're going to have it. But I think he did a really good job. He instilled a confidence in our group throughout, and I think we responded well. Talbot went out there and said this: I would take that performance anytime, not just for the first game with a new team where I got my feet wet last game in the second and third there, and just try to carry it over. Nashville is a heck of a hockey club. They added a lot of weapons this year, so we knew it was going to be a tough task. I was just trying to do my part. And do his part indeed. Stamkos, Marchessault, everybody else in that Nashville team stopped up by Cam Talbot. And I wanted to take my victory lap here and say that everything that I thought we would see out of Talbot in Detroit has come true. Sure, it's only been one game, and of course we are not counting the 2-goal performance loss he had in the Pittsburgh Penguins game, because that wasn't really his loss, that was a game in relief. We're not going to count it. Look at me, nitpicking stats and saying what counts and what doesn't to make my narrative sound better. Yeah, it's getting meta over here. But Cam Talbot, I've always said, was a lot better of a guy than you would anticipate. For a player who goes from team to team to team, from New York to Edmonton to Philly to Calgary to Minnesota to Ottawa to LA to Detroit, you would expect a guy who has been a journeyman like this to not really be all too great. But he had a .913 save percentage last year, in 54 games. Granted, the LA Kings defense is much better than the Detroit Red Wings defense, but he still had a great set of numbers. He was pretty bad in Ottawa, though, because Ottawa, you talk about decors that are needing some work. The Sens in 22-23 could have been the pinnacle of that example. He had an .898 save percentage in that season before bouncing back with the LA Kings, but in the Detroit Red Wings system, it is kind of great when you consider the fact that yesterday's game against Nashville did not just feature a 42-save shutout from Cam Talbot, but it also featured a hell of a lot of blocked shots from many wings throughout the lineup. These guys were getting in front of pucks, they were stopping rubber left, right, and center. And sure, it's not necessarily ideal for a goaltender to make 42 saves in a shutout and have the team in front of him blocking all these shots. In fact, if you go over to the Money Pucks Deserve to Win-O-meter, you'll see that Nashville actually had a 55-56% chance of deserving to win this game based off of the scoring chances. The Wings were just getting involved and stopping everything. In fact, the Wings had a pretty expanded rate in this game because of that empty net push in the third period. So if you take that away, the Predators had so many opportunities to bury the biscuit in the basket. They were kind of down in the second period, though, so good props on Detroit for getting their opportunities halfway through the game. But still, it's not really the best strategy in the world to expect your goaltender to make 40 saves a night and have your guys blocking 30 shots a game, but it worked here for one night. And yeah, I get it. It's Justin Hall on defense, there's Ben Sherratt in this lineup, Simon Edvinsson is still young. It's not like a 30-block night is going to happen every single game for the Wings. It would be totally reasonable to assume they have another crap-to-bed kind of game like they did against Pittsburgh on opening night, but for now, we can celebrate the victories while they're there, right? Cam Talbot may not have had the best save percentage against Pittsburgh, but in a full game where he has the crease to himself and the team is not already down by 4 when he steps in, he ends up going out there and proving himself to be good. And I think, at the end of the day, that's all we really could have asked for. Reliable goaltending from a guy that's supposed to be the starter. I'm sorry, Ville Husso, but you're just not it. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're a Red Wings fan, how do you feel about Cam Talbot and his debut? Or not debut, but the first game he had started with the Detroit Red Wings. You get what I mean. Thoughts on how he had performed, thoughts on the Wings winning 3-0 against Nashville, and where do you see the team going from here? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.